Everyone. I am LaWanna Bradford, co-founder and visionary of Celebrate You, Women Embracing Wellness, as well as the Chief Operating Officer of the Bradford Group. And with Celebrate You, we are a movement designed to help elevate women to achieve the highest versions of themselves so that they can impact the lives of their family, the community, the nation, and ultimately the world. And one of the things that we're doing within Celebrate You is spotlighting movers and shakers in their respective industry, introducing them to you and letting you know how you might connect with them, partner with them, and even do business with them. And today I have the honor and privilege to bring before you LaQuita Parks, founder and CEO of A Failure to Communicate and Pay Pro V Publishing. LaQuita, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. I'm excited about this conversation. We've got two lanes we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing as an author.
Yes.
Also, the services that you offer as a publishing company.
Yes.
So I know you're a self-published author. You have two books.
Yes.
Actually, you've published 5 books, but
Yes.
what I want to focus on is Walking Limitations and My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me.
Yes.
If you don't mind, I'd like us to just pause and talk a little bit about My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me, which is a diversity awareness book for children. And
Yes.
tell me, what was it that motivated you to write this book, and what impact do you hope to have from it?
Well, the motivation was I am an educator by heart. I started out working with children. I love children, and I wanted to I co-authored the book actually, and we sat down and there's always conversations about diversity and differences and racism, and it's always on an adult level. So we got to thinking about, our children and the conversations I've had with my children when they were younger. And we thought, you know what, we need to do something so that people can have some assistance in just having that conversation with their children, because some people don't know where to start. And especially people who are not African Americans, they don't know how to start having the conversations. So we decided to put together a simple story with a science lesson that children can understand. So that was the birth of My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me.
Yes, so your story is about the journey of Mary, John, and Eric, and I love how you introduce them and their, I guess, the awakening of awareness of their differences, and then like the science lesson, which opened up to the story of a snowflake and how unique and beautiful we all are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
I love the snowflake concept came because I do with my mentoring programs, I do an exercise and I take a piece of paper and I give some instructions, and at the end everybody has completed a snowflake, and I show it to them so that they know that even though they receive the same instructions, the snowflakes are always different. So that's why the snowflake came into play with My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me.
Yeah, that's a great and beautiful concept, and something that children can definitely relate to. So
Yes.
that's great. Now, one of the things that you did on our Celebrate You platform was you did a reading of My Neighbor's Dog, and it received over 40 shares, over 600 views.
Awesome.
Was just surprised at how much it was resonating with everyone. And I think also because of, climate we're currently in, but it
Mhm.
shows that people are very hungry for the right information and tools and messaging to communicate a very complex topic to a child, to help them
Right.
to understand. So knowing that you receive this type of reaction to your book, what does that mean to you? And how will you take your work in advancing awareness that much further?
Well, to me, it means that people are genuinely interested in really seeing what they can do to not perpetuate the issue, but to find a solution. And we start with children because, in my words, the cement hadn't hardened yet. So it's an opportunity to help them understand, and as they grow, to continue to see those differences and be aware of those differences, and then know how to conduct themselves going forward. So that's awesome. To have that many views. I was excited to hear that, and knowing that there were 40 shares, so we don't even know how many people shared the share. So
Exactly. So we can just connect the dots, right?
exactly, exactly. So, and that's the point. The purpose was to get it out so that people would be aware. And it's a simple book. It's just simple. And that reading was funny. That was my grandson that was sitting in my lap. So, and he's only one. So to get his attention that long, that was great. That was amazing. So I'm really excited with the direction of My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me, and what we're doing at Pay Per V. We are actually um, publishing books where it continues to bring awareness, and again, not perpetuate the problem, but we're hoping to provide a tool that will open the doors and that can really help to eradicate the issues. It's been a long time, ever since before I was born, of course. Since the beginning of time, there's been the issue of diversity and racism. So we even just finished a book called From Fears to Friends, which also talks about some little black boys who are afraid of the police. And at the end, the police helps them, so they realize that all police are not bad; they can be our friends. So with the wake of everything that happened with George Floyd and all of the things going on in the country right now, we want to be able to help offer a tool to educators, to parents, to police enforcement, to mayors and politicians with here's a tool. It's a simple tool that can be used for a complicated issue. So I'm really excited with what we can do with My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me, and through the A Failure to Communicate and Pay Per V.
And so this second book that you're working on is from fear to friends.
From Fears to Friends, yes.
Fears to friends.
Hmm.
Ladies, you are listening to Celebrate You Spotlight with LaQuita Parks, founder and CEO of A Failure to Communicate and Pay Pro V Publishing. And we are talking about the work that she's doing to help promote diversity and awareness with her children's books. Again, it's a challenge for us as adults, as parents, as providers to communicate very delicate and sensitive issues in a way that children can understand and make it their own and develop their own assessments of how they're going to navigate in this new world that we're facing. And LaQuita, I want to ask you, what do you think about the Sesame Street town hall sessions that are out there now to help with understanding diversity and awareness, COVID, big birds out there, and well,
I think it's great. I think having the conversation with children on a level that they can understand. See, sometimes we have conversations that are too big for children to grasp. When you grow, when I had a conversation with a young lady who was telling me some things that she experienced as a child, and she was kind of listening through the door and eavesdropping, and it affected her as she grew up. And I told her that she proves the point that children have no business in grown people's affairs, because they have no way to understand really what they're hearing or what they're seeing. So when we take the time to break it down, so to speak, to a child's level and help them to understand, then they flourish and they understand and they grow. So we have to not saying that children are dumb or they can't rationalize, but when they're younger, you have to do it on a level that they can understand, and you grow with it as they grow with it. So with the town halls and Sesame Street is a lovable character. I remember Sesame Street. I remember Big Bird. I still enjoy all those. And my grandson, just seeing him interact, it's they can understand that, and it's friendly and it's non-threatening.
Yes.
So it's not scary, and it's simple. And with the way that we did, My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me, children understand dirt. They know what dirt is. They know what snow is. They know, they may not understand snowflakes, but they know what snow is, and ice. So those are simple things. Even with From Fears to Friends, children understand being scared. They understand, they see the police, and if the police has been mean, that's what they contributed to when they see it. It's like, I'm afraid because I've seen you do bad things. So having the conversation where we take it from a level they understand, and from an officer friendly standpoint, because I remember officer friendly when I was in school. And so we have Officer Friendly, who was the nice person that you could go to talk to, and they, hey, how you doing? And then you got, on the other hand, you have Big Bird, and you have Sesame Street, and you have even Oscar. I
Yes.
remember him being in the trash can. That was funny. Even Barney, the dinosaur. I still remember all those songs. So taking it back, and knowing how that made me feel as a child, incorporating that feeling and that thought and that understanding, it's a personal touch for pay-per-v, and it's given an opportunity for parents to say, okay, you know what, this is a tool, and I don't have to figure it out. Here's a tool that can help me, bridge the gap between, being afraid to have the conversation because I don't want to say something that's going to scare my child, or something that I truly don't understand. And there are a lot of parents who live in a bubble, and they don't really understand themselves. So using My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me and From Fears to Friends is an opportunity for them to, you know, be comfortable and come outside that bubble. And it's non-threatening.
Yes. I love that. And I like what you said, that it provides a tool, a resource for parents. So you don't have to be this expert in how do I convey this very serious topic to a child, but
Mhm.
being in publishing, being a former educator, have provided this instrument
Mhm.
in a non-threatening way, in symbols and in words that help children to understand and relate, and then move forward with that. So
Yes.
in addition to children's books, pay pro v, do you work in other genres, or are you really, is that your lane of choice?
No, no, it isn't. It's a fun lane. Actually, it is. I enjoy that, the children's book. One of the reasons is, in incorporating, a failure to communicate is a mentoring program. So we do mentoring, we do coaching and developing. So incorporating coaching and developing into pay per v, it has given me the opportunity to work with junior illustrators. I'm working on a book right now, with a junior illustrator called A Right to a Rainbow, and it's still all about diversities. And this is using characters that children understand. A dove, a parrot, a worm, an ant. And they'll all be different. And it's a junior illustrator. She's 13 years old.
Oh,
And I've paired her with the illustrator for, From Fears to Friends, and she's doing a virtual summer art program with her. So having a chance to do that, and then, I have an author who's my one of my newest clients is in the military. He's a Green Beret, and he's working on a memoir, and it's called Growing Up Black in America. And it's his story and what he's experienced being a black man, in the special forces in the army. And I'm working, so we work in different genres where, the authors have an opportunity to express themselves, again, in a non-threatening way. It's their story. I mentor and coach them through the process. So we work in different genres. We publish, material, as long as it is not, promoting hate for any group. We will not publish that, because there's enough of that in the world.
Yes.
Pay-per-V is an opportunity for writers to come in and to share their stories. We do funny stories, we do memoirs, we do autobiographies, children's book. I'm working on one with a grandfather who just wanted to do something with the artwork that he's received from his precious little great grandbaby. She's developed beyond beyond years. She's smart beyond years, and she expresses herself with her papa in art every day, and her art tells a story. So we're working on that. So we have a variety of genres, and doing so, we continue to highlight what's going on in the world, and again, not perpetuate the problem, but our material offers solutions, and how one overcomes. That's what Walking Limitations is for me. It's a true story about my life, and how a little girl went into the hospital and received a shot of penicillin in her sciatic nerve and was crippled for life. That little girl is me. So it also shows how I went from victim to victory, which is how Pay-per-V was birthed. And Pay-per-V stands for pain, progress, and victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So it's a wonderful platform for the common person who might not go and be published with random publishing, or the
Mhm.
big publishing company, and it's an opportunity to have their voices heard, and to receive a personal touch. They may be mentored and coached for 3 months before they're comfortable enough to share their story. So we take the story from a thought to a realization, which is, my neighbors don't look like me, or Walking Limitations, or, it's in book form to do with as they want to.
So when people want to work with you, do they typically come to you through a failure to communicate or pay pro V?
They
And how the two marry with one another.
So they are married, and you can go onto the website through a Fade to Communicate or Pay-per-V, to contact me. I have been getting clients by word of mouth. My client, my co-author, who wrote My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me. I've also published other material, and he's shouting to the world, look at what this woman did for me. Look at what, she can do this for you. And so, and I have, by word of mouth, I have a consult today by somebody, and I'm like, how did you get my information? I always want to know, how did they hear about me?
Certainly.
And this person said, your nurse is a friend of mine, and she mentioned it, because I'm so excited about the work that I do with Pay-per-V. A lot of it's self-taught, and I have a team. I have an editor, and I have a consultant, two editors. I have illustrators, and I'm very proud of my junior illustrators, because it's an opportunity for them to grow and develop their craft. So my contacts come from wherever, through Failure to Communicate, through Pay-per-V, and word of mouth. Somebody saw it on Facebook, so it's exciting. So I'm always open to have a discovery call, as if you will, with every potential client, and we go from there.
So I'm not going to put words in your mouth, because I think I heard what your unique position is,
Okay.
when compared to other publishers. But why don't you tell, for the listening audience, what makes Pay-pro-V so unique? Because I heard you talk about coaching and mentoring and getting individuals comfortable to tell their story, rather than just saying, okay, let me just try to get a book done. You go through this, like you said, coaching, this mentoring process. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So just to walk you through the process, it starts with a consultation, and through that consultation, I'm asking several probing questions. What kind of book are you writing? Why are you writing this book? Who are you writing this book for? What do you want to do with the book once it's written, once you have it in book form? So we have those conversations, and then I kind of want to know some background about the person. I do that because I think it's important for them to be comfortable with me. I want them to understand that, it's no rush. This is not a project that you have to have done in 2 months, 3 months. If it takes 6 months, it's at your comfort level. You're able to, call me and talk about some places where you're stuck. Some of my clients or potential clients, they're writing, but they have no clue what the title of their book will be. So I give them some writing tips. I have them to, instead of focusing on your title, how about think of your chapter. So I'll ask you, if you're writing a book and you wanting to write a book, what would you call your first? What would you name your first 10 chapters? And my for instance, my first chapter would be Trained by Pain. And I would just write everything about Trained by Pain until I don't have anything else to write about anymore. And then I would go to chapter 2. And my next chapter would be, Motivated to Continue. That might be my next chapter. And then I'll write about that. And once I'm done with my first 10 chapters, that's your book right there. And then I'll look at that and I'll read it and I say, okay, you know what? I'll brainstorm some titles and I'll help them brainstorm some titles. And we'll come up with a title that they're comfortable with, and they really have their book. And then you go back and you format it, and you go through and you read and say, okay, am I tied to this? Am I married to this? Am I comfortable with this? And so coaching and developing them through the process, once they get to that point, they have the opportunity. I never release anybody who is to somebody else to work with if they don't want to. If they're comfortable with me and they want me to edit and to format their book, I'm okay with that. But I do my best I handpick my team. I make sure that they're like-minded, because this is my baby. Just like the Bradford group is your baby. You don't
Yes.
take your baby to the daycare and leave your baby. You want to make sure that your baby is clean. You want to make sure that your baby is fed. And then you introduce those people who are gonna take care of your baby like you. So I hand selected my team. They understand the process. They understand my purpose and the focus and what the mission is. So I pair the people with like-minded people. So I make sure they're comfortable and I continue to walk them through the process. And then I call it check-in meetings. So through the process, every couple of weeks, we do a one-on-one check-in. How you coming, how you doing? Send me your pages so that I can kind of go through and make sure that it's gelled together, that it's focused, and that it doesn't, the thoughts are all together. So
So,
we
so LaQuita, let me just ask you. So, you take them literally from concept, or maybe even helping them to develop the concept. They may just have,
exactly.
I want to write a book.
Yes,
And going from literally from that state of infancy to a fully published author,
exactly. From thought to realization, walk
to
them through the process.
realization.
So that's where the coaching and developing, and that's where my background with a failure to communicate. It's my passion to be able to do it, and I do it through motivating and inspiring. And I keep the kid gloves on. There are times when I have to take the gloves off and be firm, but I do that in a loving way always, no matter who the client is. I believe that every person, every time, needs to be treated fairly, because we're all human beings, and I don't want anybody to walk away feeling like they didn't get a fair opportunity and a fair chance with pay-per-view.
Okay. Well, we're almost out of time. I do want to ask you a couple more questions. Your mission statement, and then you just mentioned it. You said at PayProV, we help our clients take their story from a thought to a realization while allowing them to maintain creative control of their original work.
Yes.
So I think that you just sharing that process for those that are listening, that should give you a comfort knowing that LaQuita and her team are here to guide,
Yes.
not take control.
Exactly.
Here to inspire and motivate you to bring your story to life so that you can impact the lives of others, but they're not trying to impress their direction on you. Am I
Exactly.
okay?
You're
Perfect.
absolutely right.
So, what other publishing services do you include? Once a book is published, do you work with the client to help them, I guess, know how to broaden their reach or create an awareness about a finished book?
Yes, yes, we do. Your book is a realization. In the process, we talk about, what do you want to do with your book? I have a client who only wanted the book, didn't want to sell the book, didn't want the book to be released to any selling platforms at all. He just wanted a book that he can have on his shelf. So I've been encouraging him, like, it's a great book. It's a self-help book. It can help people, but he's not ready for that, and that's fine. So we take them through a marketing process where we create a buzz on social media. We do that when they sign on. If you go to our website, you'll see coming soon, where we have books coming out. So we start to create a buzz that people say, okay, and it's there among their friends and family at first to say, hey, I didn't know you were writing a book. You have a book coming. And once they have that realization, then if they decide that they want their book released, we release the book to Amazon and Barnes and Noble. They're able to have their book put in a bookstore. So we walk them through the process. I don't infringe that of what I think on them. I'll give them some coaching and developing. I'll give them some suggestions, but the final decision is theirs. If they want to have it released, we automatically will do that with their permission. And we walk them through what avenues or what their choices are. So if they want to release it, and if they want to, order copies of their books and sell their books themselves, we let them know what that looks like from a financial standpoint. Royalties as opposed to selling the book. I even educate them on if you order your books, this is how much your books cost. This is how much the shipping is. This is how much you need to have. If you want this for profit, then you need to make sure that you take this out so that you can replenish your books if you want to do it that way. So it's all about educating them from birthing them to the realization part.
So, how can people get in touch with you or get a copy of My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me?
So My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me is available on Amazon. So they can get the book on Amazon. It's available for $15. They can also reach me at www.afailure2communicate.com. And they can, contact me. My phone number is 678-608-9948. They can send me a message or email. They can contact me through any of those means, and we respond within 24 hours.
Thank you. Before we go, LaQuita, it has been a pleasure. What lasting words would you like to leave the listening audience who may have already written a book and would like to write another book, or that person who's sitting on the fence saying, I know I have a story in me but I'm scared to get it out? What do you want to say to them?
Well, I would like to say just start. Just start. You can call me, you can email me, and I can show you how to start. A lot of times we feel like we have to go through some ritual to change our lives or to start doing something, but we simply start. We start. We set goals, think positively, and accept responsibility for your thoughts and your actions. Your goals are your goals. Retrain your thought, retrain your thinking and how you see things, and take small steps. Just start. I developed this. It says just start. You just simply start. That's all. That's all. So if you want to write a book, if you have a thought, contact me and I can help you take your story from thought to realization. I'd love to.
Well, thank you so much to our listening audience. You have been listening to LaQuita Parks, founder and CEO of A Failure to Communicate, as well as Pay Pro V Publishing. She is an author of diversity conscious awareness books to include My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me and From Fears to Friends. So if you have children, if you're in education and you just want to be able to communicate challenging and difficult messages to children, these are two books you definitely want to have in your library. Also, for those of you that are looking to move forward in your in breaking ground as an author, or if you are already an author, this is a publisher who takes you from thought to realization. So just give me your final product and let me get it out there. She is really taking you from a coaching and mentoring standpoint all the way through to eventually marketing, if that is what you want to do. So again, thank you so much, LaQuita, for being a part of the Celebrate You Spotlight. Ladies and listening audience, thank you for joining us. And until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you back on Celebrate You Spotlight.